So I went to your AI overview, your AI Lord and Savior of the new generations, and it says millennials have an average attention span of around 12 seconds, while Gen Z is shorter at about 8 seconds, and Gen Alpha is even lower, estimated at around 5 seconds. These declining spans are attributed to increased exposure to screens, digital content, and short form media, with Gen Alpha being the most immersed in technology from birth. Skibbity effect. Okay. Y'all coming? Look at y'all. Look at y'all. All right. So the reason why I showed you that clip, is because, as you can see, we relate a short attention span when it comes to kids and teachers. And the problem with Gen Z and Alpha is not just that the attention span with the teachers. They are the future in relationships. And the reason why I showed you that clip, because, everybody's going on the gender war. Yeah, that's what they're going through. They're going through the gender war where men imperfections and women imperfections. And after a while, it gets regurgitated. And, it's acknowledgement and awareness. We know that. But it also brings separation. And that's part of the one things that come with these channels. They showing awareness and knowledge, but they clickbaiting at the same time, and they feeding off the negativity of the situation where it also brings separation. And we all do this. I do this at times. I show acknowledgement, not to do it for separation, but just to do it to show the imperfections on women and the imperfections on men. But now it's too much. It's just too much. So let me get back to where I'm trying to get at, where this attention span with Gen Z and Gen Alpha, and see, I'm going by, what I'm really going by is the birth rate. Now, in my last video, it was about the birth rate, right? And it still is about the birth rate right now in America. It could be Italy, Greece, South Korea. It could be Japan. It starts somewhere. I'm not talking about India and Africa. They flourishing and having kids. But there's a Mecca where it begins. Yeah, it's a Mecca where it begins. And it's beginning in the West. And it's gonna spread. And just like, how can I say it? Corporations and AI is taking our jobs. Well, we're in 2025, right? In the next 5 years, 2030, a lot of white-collar jobs are going to be gone. It's going to be taken by AI. I also see this with relationships. Now, I'm not going to talk about that, right? In this video, this is part 2 of Extinction of Relationships. But in part 3, I'll get into that and where I think this is going. Now, I'm Generation Z. I'm Generation X. Sorry, I got to go to work. I got to feed these chickens. Letting they spread their wings a little bit before I go to work. So I'm just trying to get some of this right now. And then a little later, I'll probably get the rest in the car. But my thing as Generation X, we see things and we think that the next generation has a problem. If we don't have a problem, they shouldn't have a problem. And that's not how we should see it as boomers and Generation X. You have to have an open mentality and current events on what's going on right now with the economy, relationships, social media. Everything's playing a part on our relationships. How can I say it? Now, my mind is all over the place because I got to go to work. But teachers are crashing out on this attention span. Let me give you an example, a couple of teachers that's crashing out, high school teachers. This is nothing new, okay? They have social media on this situation, but it's a puzzle. It's a piece to the puzzle or what we're looking forward to in the future. All right, so let's check it out.
We cannot teach your children anymore. I've been a teacher for 15 years. Things are not the way they used to be. Children are coming into our classroom now and they cannot pay any attention more than a few seconds at a time. It's not just the attention span that's been affected. Children don't even have the ability to communicate with one another or adults anymore. Interpersonal skills are in the toilet. And yes, that has everything to do with electronics. Children as young as 5 and 6 are having high anxiety. I don't care what anybody says, that's not normal. Like, y'all, we are in absolute crisis. The amount of teachers that I have seen leave the profession over these last few years is staggering. What makes this even worse is that parents are like, oh, well, maybe you just don't know how to hold their attention. It's ridiculous. Y'all are literally ruining an entire generation because you just don't want to be parents. You shouldn't have had kids then. Not against screen time, but I'm telling you that these kids are not right in the head. Because from birth to 5 years is when the biggest brain development window is happening. Y'all are putting them in front of electronics. Their neurons are not connecting properly. Whose fault is that? That'd be you. What are y'all going to do when teachers just quit because we can't do this anymore? Y'all better get comfy homeschooling.
Hey, Jordan. Thanks for coming in. I wanted to talk to you about your test. I'm having a little bit of trouble.
Did I get an A?
No. It's actually why I want to talk to you. I'm having a bit of trouble reading your handwriting.
Yeah, I didn't want to handwrite it.
I understand, but during the test, you told me your battery died and you forgot your charger.
Why didn't you give me another laptop?
Well, Jordan, I didn't have another laptop.
Oh, because you're poor?
No, not because I'm poor. Jordan, let's get back on track. Look, I've really tried, but there's no way I can read this.
Yeah, I can't read it either. This is the first time I've done this.
First time doing a handwritten test?
No, handwriting.
Right. All right. Well, look, this is what we're going to do. I'm going to let you retake the test using your laptop. Jordan, are you listening? Jordan, let's put away the phone. I'm going to let you retake the test on your computer. Does that sound good? You're shrugging your shoulders. What's wrong, Jordan?
Well, I've already taken the test, and it was really boring, and I have to take it again. So I'm just really worried that I'm going to be bored.
You know the term, obviously, iPad kids. Scrolling. These rapid dopamine hits. Now, that kid's going to grow up, probably develop sexual interest, probably discover porn. Dopamine hits.
Yep.
Okay? A little older than that, he's going to get introduced to vapes. Dopamine hits. Then he gets a little older, he wants to date. He's going to download an app. What's that going to be? Dopamine hits. And what you're going to have is a generation of dopamine addicts. There's a fantastic book, actually, called The Anxious Generation. If you listen to Love Line, you have children, please read that book. And I know it's tough, dude. You don't always want to watch the kid.
Right,
Like, I'm not even a parent. I can empathize with that. You wake up some days, you don't want to be a mom. You don't want to be a dad. It's a job I have to jump through every day. It's exhausting.
Yeah, but there's a difference between like a 30-minute screen time versus like 5-hour screen time. And with children with developing brains, 30-minute screen time is fine. 5-hour screen time is going to have long-term effects.
Got them all in. I'm not doing a clown show trying to get them in before I go to work, but they all in. But what I remember as Generation X growing up, you know, back in the 80s, the 90s, I used to watch movies, Prisoners of War. They strap them into a chair. They let them watch clips of devastation, violence, famine, violence, mutilation. You know, I don't know if it was like a mind control thing or, you know, so I used to see movies like that, Minority Report and stuff like that, where they try to do this mind control. And it's so funny when I used to see these movies over and over again, strapping a man into a chair, trying to manipulate his mind and set his brain to see things, and condition him, you know, neuralistic language patterns and NLP, whatever you want to call it, the abbreviations, certain ways of getting them, you know. I used to see these things and I'm like, damn, thinking of it now, we don't have to be strapped into a chair. No, we don't have to be strapped into a chair. We are voluntarily giving our mind screen time. I say that again, we're giving our mind free screen time. And no one's manipulating us but ourselves. And they knew that mind control is a serious thing, and also volunteering your time to do it on your own. You know, sometimes I get brain rot. You know, sometimes I notice if I keep flicking, after a while, my brain is like, I can't keep a thought longer than, or an idea that long. So sometimes, like I said, I don't like being in cyberspace, and I come and I go. But yeah, the manipulation of doing it on your own, it's very serious, because no one's holding a gun to your head and no one's strapping you to the chair. Think of that, right? I'm giving you examples, right? And in order to have attention, to be in a relationship, you have to be attentive to another person, right? And you have to have patience, and you have to have compromise. And you take that away when there's no attention span. That's one. That's the way I see it. So people are, in the future, is not going to have the patience to have compromise if you don't have an attention span. So yes, I'm showing you this between the kids and in the school. I'm showing you this, and I'm pretty sure you saw so many of it. This is nothing new. But to correlate and relate to a relationship is very important. I think that's one of the key things that we're missing. We only see in the kids and the teachers, but I'm seeing a lot of these channels only talking about what women ain't doing right and they're not playing their part, and I'm seeing men, they're not playing their part, and women are being men and men being women, and they switching parts, and it's regurgitated. Like I said, it's over and over and over again. Now, in part 1, I showed you my tributes to humanity. So if you didn't see part 1 to this is part 2. Part 1 tells you about me and what I contribute to humanity, right? Whether you married or you've been in a long-term relationship or a situationship, and you bring something to humanity. See, we're missing, because there's so many distractions, we're missing the part here, humanity. And with all these distractions about he's not doing his part and she's not doing his part, we're missing the main part. It's humanity against AI, and the small portion, the 10% of trillionaires that's only contributed to them and AI, if you understand where I'm coming from, right? So we have to understand that this situation with this relationships is getting worse. And like I said, I'm not going by what he said or she said. I'm going by the facts and the statistics. The statistics say the birth rate is going down. It has something to do about relationships and attention span. And that's one of the biggest parts, the attention span. No one doesn't have that patience anymore. Listen, if you're in a relationship long term, I'm talking about, 25, 30, anything over 15, 20, you have kids. You're contributing to something to humanity. You showing compromise. Rather if you're in a marriage, relationship, or situationship, because see, one thing is that there's always a power trip between women and men. It's always going to be a power trip. And if you're in a marriage or a long-term relationship, you're going to go through this struggle, this power trip struggle, right? Even in a situationship, because one have to give more and have patience with the other, because they know that person is a situationship, but it takes a toll on that person. And when it takes a toll on that person, they want more power, and they stress to you they want more power. They want more for you to contribute. And once you know you can't do that, that's the power trip. You're going to have to let them go and find what you need to find, right? So even in a situationship, it's a problem. But see, now, relationships, marriage, situationships, all these things wouldn't matter if you ain't got no patience or no attention in the future. And social media, I think it was 2010 when the first iPad touchscreen came out, and everything changed. And we have to really understand that no matter what, if you think it's a man thing or a woman thing, it's an attention thing. It's an attention thing. And if there's no attention, there's no relation. And like jobs are going to be gone, relationships are going to go. And part 3, and like I said in part 1, I have kids. I want to see the best for them. I want them to have what I have. And there's a side of me that's pissed the buck off of what's going on, and I want it to end in the worst way. But then there's another side of me. This is what I said in my part 1 at the end of my video. There's 2 sides of me you're going to see. You're going to see the negative side, and you're going to see the positive side. The side that I'm trying to make sure that humanity bring more kids onto this earth, have rules and regulations on AI, But it looks like it's not going to go that way. There's no way to stop AI because, if America doesn't make it better, China will make it better. There's no restrictions on it. So at the end of the day, I feel like things are going to just get worse. But you have to understand, there's compromise. It's rare to be married. It's rare to have kids. It's going to be rare to be in a relationship. It's going to be rare to be in a situationship. Well, maybe not, right? Depending on how things are going, people might break and decide to, share. Okay, the way society's going and the jobs are going, and we might see a shift in the future on one side. See, I'm trying not to make this a gender thing, right? But there's skills that we have, survival skills. Men have survival skills and women have survival skills. And depending on the society it is, that sets the standard in their society and their country and their government, and the rules are changed, well, things change. Things get rearranged. And survival skills kick in. So when there's survival skills on one side of the gender, either it's physically or manipulation, or, like I said, I don't want to get into this gender war thing, but when this survival skill kicks in, you're going to find yourself doing things that you thought you would never do, right? Or your standards will have to drop. You can't have these high standards no more, right? Whether it's the jobs pushing you, you just gonna have to play your part in life. Is it either physically or mentally? You're gonna find your way in life playing the part. We could always argue that I don't want to play this part. You could say my standards are high. You could say I'm gonna do this, I'm not gonna do that. But once the government start taking things away from you, you're gonna find your survival skills working at its finest. In part 3, and like I said, I don't do live chats. I don't do memberships. I don't do merchandise. I come and go. I don't like to be in cyberspace all day, all the time, catering to people. I like to vent. This is what's different for me and these channels. Would I love to make money on this? Sure. But I don't play my part, and I do not play my position to make the money, and I don't put the effort in that these other channels do. I just have an idea, and I say it, and hopefully someone in my family will see it and say, well, hey, man, he was right 5 years ago. That's all crucial to me. Like I said, my oldest son, 30, just gave me a granddaughter. He contributed to humanity. As future goal, we could use this as record books and knowledge for the future, right? So that's how I see it. I vent, and I come on cyberspace when I feel like it. It's not a job, okay? I got too much on my plate. I got a granddaughter. I got my father that's 82 years old to take care of. I got chickens. I got a lot of things on my plate besides being on cyberspace all the time. I pick and choose when I want to. If you can't see the real in that, it is what it is. I'm not asking you for your likes. I'm not asking you for subscribe. But I know one thing. Date this day and stamp this day and this time, because at the end of the day, no one's putting attention span to relationships. They only doing it with kids and teachers. But I'm telling you, this is more proof than the gender war. And it's going to be playing a part with gender war is attention span. 12 seconds, 8 seconds. Now Gen Alpha is 5 seconds. No, we are conditioned. And this is bigger than what you think it is. And separation is power. Separation is power. Just remember that. To the wealthy and that 10% class that has everything. And once we separate it and divide it, they have more power than you ever. See, a lot of people think it's religion, race, gender, but it's class warfare. That's what it is. It's class warfare. And the distractions are those other things. Race, gender, your sexuality, and all that is just for you to get distracted. And some of these channels, they keep going on and regurgitate the same thing. And now to me, they're part of the problem. They don't have a solution. On my channel, I'm going to find solutions and I'm going to give you examples. I have a lot of solutions on relationships, but it's rare and not everybody is going to play the part to do this. But I have solutions. So stay tuned. Here to change your mind, here for you to read between the lines. Not what they say is what they're not saying. I mix the lies of the truth and the truth of the lies. But at the end of the day, you love lies and you hate the truth. All right, I'm out. Time to get on the plantation. I'm out.